What's up, guys? Classy Metal here. It is that time of the month, a little bit later this month, but the Metalhead Box is here. This is the Metalhead Box for April. I know we are almost at the end of May, but they did make up for the logistics errors. I think the quality of the box that I got this month definitely was worth the wait. As most of you know, I have swapped over to the 4 CD, 1 t-shirt version of the Metalhead Box. I have been very pleased with that decision so far. I think it's a better fit for me personally. I get the things that I look forward to most every month without the extra clutter, because I have enough pins and autographs and toys and everything to last me a lifetime already all over the place. So the fact that I get 4 CDs, brand new CDs for me to listen to every month, and a nice shirt is just like a perfect offering for me personally. They have all different kinds of stuff that you can choose from on the site now. They have so many different options. They will be linked up in the description. That way you can go check them out and see something that you might like or want to pick up from their site. So, as always, I have already gone through the box. This actually came in yesterday. I wanted to listen through the CDs so I could give you a little bit of a rundown on what I got and how I felt about each one of those. There was actually 6 CDs in this month's box. It's usually 4 CDs in the shirt, and there were 6. So there were a couple promo CDs that I did enjoy, and we'll get into that shortly. First up, I had dog hair on it. I had to get it off. First up, the t-shirt this month is a nasty, I don't know how well my camera's going to pick it up. It's a little wrinkled. Malignant Altar t-shirt. Malignant Altar is a death metal band out of Texas. I believe they're out of Houston, Texas, that released a monolith of an album back in December. Had it come out a little bit earlier, it most definitely would have ended up on my end of the year list last year. The album was entitled Realms of Exquisite Morbidity. It's just dark, almost occult themed, just chunky, nasty, heavy death metal, and that's an awesome shirt. That the design, I'm hoping my camera is picking that up and giving it the justice that it deserves, because you kind of get that occult, dark feeling from that artwork, and it feels like that shirt encompasses the sound of Malignant Altar very, very well. So I was very happy to with the shirt that I got this month. As I said, there were 2 extra CDs in my box, so I got a total of 6. I'm just going to run these down in the order that I listened to them. The first one, I was very surprised to see. It kind of put me on a bit of a roller coaster. I did not know that this CD had even come out. My shirt's all twisted up. This is the Mortiferum shirt I got at the show last week. This is the latest from Mavradoxa. Mavradoxa was an atmospheric black metal band out of, I believe, Long Island, New York. I think they're somewhere upstate New York. I featured their first album, Sojourners, on this channel very early on when I was starting out doing YouTube, and I still hold that album very close to my heart. It is one of the early albums that had a member of a band reach out to me as far as my review for the album, and I absolutely love that release. Their follow-up to that, I believe, came out in 2017, entitled Lethean Lament. It was pretty good. It didn't quite reach the heights for me personally that Sojourners did, and I didn't know that this newest release came out. This one is entitled Nightmarrow. This came out in 2019. 2019 was a bit of an up and down year for me. Had a lot of things going on financially, emotionally, mentally, and somehow I just missed this album. The band logo is different on this release. That could have played a role. This was put out through Hypnotic Dirge Records, as were, I know, the sophomore album, and I believe the reissue of the debut were put out through Hypnotic Dirge as well. And somehow, I don't know, I just missed this one. So when I saw that this was in the box, I was like, is that the same Mavradoxa that I remember, and it was, and then I realized shortly after that the band is actually split up. So it was like, hey, a new album, and then back down to the low spot that this will be the last album that I hear from them. Although this is probably their best album to date, so there is that. At least I found this something for me to enjoy, and being left with the high point, I guess, from the band. As I said, it's atmospheric black metal, kind of progressive black metal. It's not just your run of the mill atmospheric, what you kind of have this image in your mind. A lot of these kind of post metal atmospheric black metal bands. I mean, there are hints of that in there, but it isn't the mainstay of this. There is some progressive black metal going on. The title track, Nightmarrow, I think that's one of the most kind of atmospheric black metal tracks on this album. But I love this. It was a very mature release. I'm very sad that I won't be hearing anything else from Mavradoxa, but at least I have this one to tide me over for a little bit now. Moving on, the next one. I'd seen this album being posted up on Instagram, and I've kind of seen it around, but I didn't really give the cover art too much of a glance. I had this band completely mixed up with another band. This is the newest full-length from Botanist was the band that I had them confused with. This is Pharmacist with Flourishing, Extremities on Unspoiled Mental Grounds. This is death grind, I guess gore grind fused with death metal out of Japan. And I'm ashamed to say that I had this completely confused with the band Botanist, the black metal band that has no guitars, just bass. I am not a fan of Botanist at all. And when I saw that this going around, I just wrote it off, didn't even pay any attention to it, because in my mind, Pharmacist and Botanist apparently were the same bands. I am so glad that this was in my box, and I got a chance to listen to this. This is just filthy, nasty, death grind, gore grind, death metal, and it blew my socks off. This was released on Severed Records. That should have been the giveaway right there, that this wasn't like obscure black metal, that this was death metal. And then when I got a closer look at that artwork, there's no way that was kind of plant-themed black metal. So that was just me being completely off my game there. This is a little different than your run-of-the-mill death grind and gore grind. The track times on this album all clock in close to 7 minutes. The second track, Corpus Sonica, is definitely my favorite track on this entire release. There's some groovy death metal elements going on in that. It's just a phenomenal release. Now I'm seeing why I've been seeing this posted everywhere since April. This was a new release, came out in April. This is the April box, so it was very nice to get a new release like this in this month's box. So killer stuff there from Pharmacist. That's Pharmacist, not Botanist. I'm going to link all of these albums up in the description. At least link the bands and the labels that they're a part of, and kind of give you guys a chance to go check some of this stuff out for yourself if you see something that you like. Next up, we have an international project. I know that Ryan, my buddy over there on Metal Viking 82, I believe he got this in his box this month as well. This is Weaponry with Everwinding Slaughter. When I first started listening to this, I thought the vocals were going to turn me off. This is kind of death metal, kind of mixed in with, there's some crust vibes going on with this, and the kind of grunty, it is so hard to explain these vocals. They're these grunty, not your normal guttural grunts. It just, I don't know. I thought that they were going to irk me as I started listening to this, and by the end of the album, they completely won me over. This album as a whole won me over. This is another new release. This was released back in January through Extreme Music, so it's nice to get some stuff from international labels in these boxes as well. I know sometimes labels like this make it kind of tough for us here in the States. I guess international shipping is tough on everybody right now, so when you get something international in a box, it's definitely a plus, especially when it's a new release. And this is one that I probably would not have checked out otherwise. To me, that looks like some straight up thrash metal. There are some thrashy death metal parts in this. I mean, the death metal is definitely prevalent, but there are some thrashy vibes going on here and there. I guess that kind of bleeds into that crust punk feeling at times. But the vocals on this, I absolutely, like I said, I thought the vocals were going to be the downfall of this album for me, and then by the end of the album, I absolutely loved them. So that it completely works with what they're going with here. Kind of tongue-in-cheek stuff. They don't take themselves too seriously, and that's something that I can appreciate. It's just a fun release there. Next up is one of the promo kind of freebies that they threw in for us this month. This is Heavy Metal Underground compilation from Dying Victims Productions. Dying Victims Productions is a label out of Germany. They kind of focus on this throwback sound. There's a lot of traditional heavy metal on their label. There's a lot of thrash infused heavy metal, and there's some doomy stuff going on as well. This sampler is 16 tracks. I've only listened through this once all the way through, but there were some standout tracks on this. The very first song from the band Venator, entitled The Hex, that one I really did like. That may be my favorite track on this entire release. Track number 10 from the band Knife, entitled Inside the Electric Church. I really enjoyed that one as well. Had a bit harsher vocal style going on that, and there were just parts of that. It was a very catchy song, and there were parts of that just kind of really stuck with me and made me want to go back and re-explore that song after this compilation was over. And then track number 15 by the band Vicious Knights, Swing from the Grave. That's another one that kind of stuck out to me. Had the almost that same kind of raspy vocal style going on that. And then the final track from the band Hexenbrett, entitled Sadist, has some hooks, some very catchy hooks going on, and the riffing on that was quite awesome as well. So some decent stuff there. Want to look into a few of these bands a little bit more, and that's usually what all you can look for when you're going into a compilation like this, where pretty much every band on this was brand new to me, and I found a few on there that I definitely want to look into a little bit more rather. Next up, another new release. This one actually technically hasn't even come out yet. The official release date for this is on the 27th of May. Today is the 25th of May, so we got this a little bit early. This is a band out of Indonesia doing very, very raw black metal. I'm going to butcher the band name, the album name, and everything. I'm going to just pronounce it the best way I can. It will be linked up in the description, so you can jump down there and check it out. All right, the band name, Mantahungal, and the album title, Gevangenen van Angst. Yeah, this was released on Black Market Metal label, a label out of Canada. I have enjoyed everything that I've heard so far from Black Market Metal label. I believe I have 19. I think this is the 20th CD from that label in my collection so far. A lot of those have come from Metalhead Box. This one is a little bit different than everything else I've heard from that label. This album definitely delves into more of a raw black metal sound. The actual musicianship on this is very good. I think the production does this album a huge disservice. There is the guitars are so high in the mix, the reverb, it almost hurts my ears to listen to this at a volume where I can pick up the rest of the stuff. Now, I will admit that I have not heard the actual CD yet. The mixing on the CD may be a little bit different. I heard a stream on Bandcamp, which was a stream that had a link to purchase the cassettes, and that was released back in 2021. The Black Market Metal CD version is coming out this month in 2022. I don't know if there's any kind of remixing or remastering on on the actual CD, but I know on the mix that I listened to, it could be a bit of a difficult listen. It was a bit frustrating to me because the music behind it was all top notch, and the production just kind of did it a definite disservice. I will go back and spend a little bit more time with this. I don't want to write something off and not give it a proper chance. Sometimes a lot of it just depends on the mood I'm in as well. I can stick away from it for a little bit, come back and revisit it, and absolutely love it. But the rawness and production value on this one was a lot to try to take in. And then the last one, I put this one off to last because I assumed that this was going to be my least favorite out of everything that I got in this box. I had never heard of this band before, and it was released on CDN Records. It's just another one of these little freebies that they threw in the slipcase. And the name of the band is Instrametal, and the name of the album is Exitio Prophetiae. I looked this up on Metal Archives before I even gave it a spin, when I was just kind of going through, trying to get myself an idea of what I was going to be listening to with these albums. And Metal Archives just has this listed as progressive metal. There are no other tidbits to this, just there's the fact that the band is out of South Africa, but there are no reviews up for this band. There were no inklings of what I was actually getting myself into. With a band name like Instrametal, I thought that this was going to be an instrumental project. I'm not huge on instrumental bands that without the vocals. It's just not really my cup of tea. I saw that it was progressive metal, and I was scared to death that I was getting into something like modern Opeth without the vocals. I'm not the biggest proponent of modern Opeth, even maybe some Dream Theater type stuff without the vocals, which to me would be an absolute nightmare. Everyone has their own thing. Some people would probably enjoy some of that stuff. I would not. And I put it off, and I was like, you know what, I need to listen to this so I can make this video. And this turns out this may be my favorite album that I got in this entire box. It's 14 tracks. The last 3 are instrumental, but this is death metal, progressive death metal. There are thrashy vibes going on, and doomy. There's some doomy stuff going on this as well. Perhaps that's where they got the progressive metal, just because they weren't sure how to label this between the thrash, death, and doom vibes going on in it. But I fell in love with this. This came out last year in 2021. They have a full length that came out this year as well. This is making me definitely want to go check out the full length that they put out this year. But this was just top notch. This had me banging my head at work. I could not stop listening to this, and I absolutely love this. I even dig the instrumental tracks. So I have this one just kind of made me put away those pre-thoughts that I had in my head, and made me just kind of rethink the way that I was thinking about stuff, because you can't just judge something from your initial thoughts. You actually have to give it a chance, and this was phenomenal. If you don't check out anything else that's on this month's box, I highly urge you go check this out through CDN Records. So that was it. A little bit longer video. There were 6 albums for me to go through as opposed to 4. I love this service. I love the fact that I get a grab bag like this every month now. It's something for me to look forward to. I'm already excited for next month's box now. So Metalhead Box will be linked up in the description. Each one of these albums in the description, as well as the labels that they're on. If I butchered something and you would like to know more, or you didn't pick up a band name or something, feel free to jump in the comments and let me know. If you got one of these, I know some of you that I know have swapped over to this same type of box that I'm getting. If you got this, I'm very interested to see what albums you got, to see maybe if we got a little bit different things in the box, and kind of see how they're doing with that. But that's all I've got for today. Stay classy, stay metal. There will be a new CD collection video up on Sunday, so that's on the way as well. I will see you guys very soon, I promise.